Thing that I've wanted to do for a while is support more input devices in Big Blue. One of the problems with supporting X input is that if you have like an older Logitech gamepad or other gamepads, they're not actually X input devices, so they don't work, and then you have to install some crappy X input emulator just to get the controls to work with them. So to address this, I've added direct input support to Big Blue. So basically, Big Blue supports not only raw input and X input, but now it also supports direct input. So I think pretty much all of the Windows input APIs are covered for various things now. And so you'll notice when you go into the controls in Big Blue configuration, in devices, you're going to see direct input devices alongside of the X input devices that you might have on here. So in this case, see I have one X input device, and that is actually this arcade stick, this Street Fighter 4 fight stick. It's really just an Xbox X input device. So you can pick and choose. Now let me show you basically the various trade-offs. If you really have an X input device, I suggest selecting that because X input devices are the only ones that have access to the guide or home button on an Xbox gamepad. So I'll grab my joystick here. And if I add a new input, well, this one actually has one. Let me delete these. Get rid of all these. Okay, delete multiple. I need to implement that deleting multiple inputs at the same time. It only lets you do one at a time. Okay, so if I add an input and I say that I'm going to select the first X input device, and let's say I want it to be maybe Rampage exit, so player one exit. If I push on the home button or the guide button on Xbox pad, see how it actually maps that. And the neat thing about that is like you can actually use your guide button to exit from programs that you launch from Big Blue. So you could really have a seamless experience with an Xbox pad on there where you can control the front end and actually exit the games all from your joystick, not needing any keyboard inputs at all. But you can also use direct input. So like for example, I have this Logitech rumble pad selected here, and so if I select and that's what it is. It's reading this as the first direct input device on the machine. So if I select direct input 1 and I say, I don't know, maybe I want it to be a volume up, and see there I got my joystick Y axis up, and that will raise the volume. And I could do, to go like to the previous game or something, I could say maybe, like the up, point of view, or directional pad on there. So on most direct input devices, the directional pad, because it's digital, it's not analog, it tends to be the POV, and the analog joysticks are, the X and Y joystick axis there. So yeah, so basically all input devices are supported now. It doesn't matter what you have. I did kind of feel bad about leaving people in the dark who didn't have Xbox gamepads, because I mean, Logitech made a lot of good gamepads. SideTech has some good gamepads. It's not right to make people install crappy X input emulators like, that, what's it, X360 CE, that kind of stuff. I mean, you really shouldn't have to do that. This stuff should be supported natively. Even though most PC games are terrible and only do X input now, MAME supports direct input. Actually, this is an interesting side note. The next version of MAME, 0.172, is actually going to have X input support as well as direct input support. So for MAME, it was kind of like the opposite thing. You know, they had direct input support already, and now they're adding X input. Whereas I had X input, and now I'm adding direct input. So you're kind of going backwards there. You can map all of that now, buttons, whatever else. So if I do, say rampage punch left, I'll make that the first button, and then there it is. So if I save this now and I launch Big Blue, when I push the first button, you can see it's punching left. And I don't know if you can see the overlay. See the volume overlay on the screen. That's because I'm actually adjusting the volume with the analog stick in Big Blue. See, like, let me go into the controls and add the volume down. So see how I'm actually controlling that, by moving my joystick up and down here. So So basically, Big Blue is one of the only front ends I know that has this like built-in. Most front ends don't actually let you use controls like that, to adjust the volume. So it's kind of nice, to have a feature like that. So basically, hopefully this is going to allow people to, do whatever they want to do on there, and not have to worry about what kind of device they use when they're, running games. I mean, because you could have a setup potentially where you're not using a keyboard. Maybe you are just using X input devices or just game pads or something. So, Big Blue handles that now.